Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. I have more WNBA news, unfortunate WNBA news. This relates to the image, the reputation that's put out there for the WNBA and its players. Um, I feel like I have to talk about this several times a year, but recently Jeff Teague made comments about Asia Wilson on this podcast, and he said Asia Wilson can beat any college player, G Leaguer, or NBA player. And he made reference to male players. So any male college athlete, any male G Leaguer, or any male NBA player. So even if he feels this way, I don't even know why he felt the need to put this out in the atmosphere or put this out. Because like I said, it doesn't put his show in a good light, definitely doesn't put him in a good light. And he made comments. He had Charleston White on his show as well, and he made disparaging comments about Angel Reese. And I think them putting that footage out, like I said, he said it was a live recording, so they couldn't control it. It was already out there, and somebody snapped the video or whatever. But, when you put someone on your platform like Charleston White, he's going to say outrageous and outlandish things that are going to disparage people all the time. Joe Budden recently just put out a statement saying he didn't put out the Charleston White interview because he made comments about someone's son that recently died, and it was inappropriate. So Joe Budden did a good thing by not putting out that interview because, like I said, that backlash goes back on him. And recently, Angel Reese addressed these comments from Charleston White, and she said that there will be consequences. So that sounded like legal action. So possibly Charleston White and the Jeff Teague show will receive some kind of lawsuit, I'm assuming coming soon. But like I said, we'll cover that. I'll cover that if that comes down to it. But nevertheless, Jeff Teague's comments were just another example of toxic masculinity at its finest. Because, like I said, this is all hypothetical anyway. It's not like WNBA play NBA players or play college players. The WNBA plays WNBA, NBA players play NBA players. So, but I just think it was just insensitive, and it was very shock value. And I think a lot of things that he says has been shock value. He said Michael Jackson couldn't sing, which coming from a person that can't sing, he has no right to say that in the first place. But two, then nobody asked him really about that. But Jeff Teague makes these outlandish comments. And then a former USC player also addressed him about his calling his comments misogynistic and sexist. And she said that's the most misogynistic and sexist things that she's ever heard. And I totally agree with her. Like I said, Jeff Teague talks as if he was, if he was Michael Jordan or if he was Kobe or somebody like that. He was third or fourth best player on the championship team at best. So, I just think his comments are very disrespectful for Asia Wilson. Like I said, as a WNBA fan, I just hate all the dislike and the disparaging comments about the WNBA, especially as they're trying to ascend. And it seems like these especially coming from a former NBA player, that stings a lot because, like I said, people actually listen to this podcast and like his podcast, and I heard it's a good one. I've never listened to it, but his comments come out often about something crazy he didn't say for shock value, and you don't have to do these things. Paul George has a podcast, and he doesn't do these things. He brings WNBA players on his podcast. He ups the league. He supports the league. Jeff Teague is taking a route that he doesn't need to do, and it seems like he's just doing it for shock value and for monetary gain. But like I said, what are you like? You're making yourself look bad. You're making your podcast look bad. It's just a bad look. And Asia Wilson, I don't have to say these things, but like I said, she has so many accolades. If you put her trophies in a room, you would cover the room. Jeff Teague can't say that. Asia Wilson has, she's a 2-time WNBA champion, 3-time league MVP, a world full of, accolades as far as college goes. She's won a national championship. She's done all these great things. Like I said, she's 6'4" at a power forward, which is taller considered in the WNBA. But like I said, her skill set and her resume, you can put it up against anybody's, whether it be NBA, WNBA, college, high school, whatever. So I think it's just a lot of hatred towards WNBA players because they always want to say their league is easier and things like that. But they have more parity in their league. There's more talent in their league. There's not a lot of teams compared to the NBA, but they have so much talent on these teams that NBA just doesn't have it. We have maybe 10 players that are good, and the rest of them are okay. The WNBA has way more talent. And I argued with a friend about this the other day. I think Asia Wilson could be some college players and NBA players, and especially G leaguers, especially college, because like I said, it's not a lot of separation in college basketball anymore for men. Everyone's kind of on the same level. And there used to be this consensus number one. There really hasn't been a consensus number one in a while. I want to say even when Zion Williamson came out, they were debating between him and John Morant. There's not standouts like there used to be where it's this number one player, hands down, 30-point scorer. You just don't see that anymore. And the women's basketball has that. You know, you had a Caitlin Clark, you had an Angel Reese, you had a Juju Watkins, you had a Paige Beckers. You have these different stars that came out. Asia Wilson when she was in college. You knew these players were going to be first picks. Even Aaliyah Boston, you knew these players were going to be first picks. You don't have that in men's college basketball anymore. So for Jeff Teague to say these things, it's just without merit and without fact. And that's the problem with today's NBA players. They're based off money. They're not based off skill anymore. It's about how much money I can make, what my stats were. It's not about what you can do as a team. It's about, I can beat this person, I can beat this person. But can you win the championship? Can you make the playoffs? Can you do things like that? Everybody's worried about their money. They're sitting out these games and getting injured all the time. You don't have that in the WNBA. And people want to talk about the athleticism in the WNBA. It's very athletic, just not because you're dunking. Who cares about dunking when, you're just, NBA doesn't even dunk anymore, really. They're shooting 100 threes a game. And that's why the game is deteriorating now. But, like I said, that's all I have for this topic. Like I said, I was kind of disappointed in Jeff Teague, but I wasn't shocked because a lot of what he does is shock value. So thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. And until next time, I'll see you next time.